Yeah, I think even though Bernstein is now in a different world, I'm absolutely sure, and I physically feel, and I think we all do, that the Bernstein spirit is still here. You know, we performed this year in rehearsal. I remember John Williams' new piece, and Yo-Yo was playing, and there was a bird singing, and we looked to each other, and we thought, yeah, that must be Lenny, you know. And there was a soft passage, softer, and the bird was softer, and then it finished, and then the bird started to sing and to talk, and we thought, yes, he approved.
The thing about Tanglewood is that it embodied the whole cycle of my father's being as a learner and a teacher. The minute he found out about anything that was exciting to him, whether it was, you know, a Mahler symphony or a Lewis Carroll poem or a really good Jewish joke, he had to turn right around and share it with somebody else.
Bernstein was a great asker of questions. He asked himself so many. He asked me so many. And nothing pleased him more than when the answer to a question was still another question.
Leonard Bernstein as the seeker, looking for truth, looking for answers, and sometimes finding them, that was probably the single greatest push for me to say, wow, if someone like him doesn't have all the answers, and he is at the same time teaching, composing, doing everything with courage. For a young person, this is a lifelong lesson.
I was immediately in love with the charisma of his music. Every movement of his body is pure music, and that is the magic of his way to conduct. So that, for me, and I think for all the conductors, is a beautiful reference, because we try to express with our body what the music tells us, but he did in a way of perfection.
Bernstein was my hero from the moment I saw him conduct when I was just 9 years old, and I realized that I had to be a conductor. Becoming his student was a dream come true. To talk about music, politics, education, any and everything with him was a revelation. He came to hear me conduct a performance of Chichester Psalms, and afterward came backstage and said, "Marin, didn't you listen to my recording?" And I said, "But Maestro, of course I did." He said, "Oh, which one did you listen to?"
So my brother and sister and I often get asked, when did you realize what a big deal your dad was? And so our semi-joke answer to that question is, it was when we were watching the Flintstones and Betty and Wilma were going to the Holly Rock Bowl to watch Leonard Bernstein conduct. We thought, wow, he's on the Flintstones? He must really have hit the big time.
When I was 10 years old, I was lucky enough to see two musicals back to back, My Fair Lady and West Side Story, both in London. And I remember thinking, My Fair Lady, phenomenal, wonderful, wonderful show. And then seeing West Side and thinking, how can it be that musical theatre is so able to embrace something so entirely different? And of course, as a kid who loved rock and roll, I guess, I don't know, West Side completely obsessed me. West Side Story was one of the things that really stepped me on the road to wanting to write musicals.
Lenny was a sort of Picasso in music, in a couple of respects, that he was the quintessential artist celebrity who wrote for everyone, not for an elite. And if the elite happened to catch up with him, so be it, and they did.
One of the most important things I learned from Lenny was, if you're going to fail, fail big. Don't fall off the second rung of the ladder. Fall off the 12th rung of the ladder. And in other words, take chances. And Lenny took chances all his life.
If Leonard Bernstein were to walk into this room right now, I think I might say, Lenny, We're living through a time of anger and confusion in our country. It's hard for us to remember sometimes the truths we all used to hold to be self-evident. Thank you so much for your beautiful music that still reminds us of those truths.
So he really was a comet that visited us briefly, all too briefly. And there's been nothing like him. It's almost easy to say in music, certainly not in American music. He's unique. We haven't had a combination of these gifts in any one soul before or since.
I would hug him and say thank you, thank you, thank you for, firstly, for letting us believe that the music and the power of music can change life. And he has proved it, and he has shown the way for so many musicians.